We're married. Wedding drama. Let's get into it. I would say that my wedding was almost a disaster because I didn't know if there was going to be a wedding. I didn't know if I wanted to walk down the aisle. I was so upset with Richard on the wedding morning, honestly. Started my wedding crying my eyes out. And that set us back like 2 hours back. Hi guys.
Hi.
Welcome back to our YouTube channel.
It's been a while.
I know it's been a while. I feel like we just kind of stopped filming.
There was just so much, I think, that went on in the last couple of months, weren't there?
Yeah.
With like family being around and we went traveling. So it's been tricky to do a video. It's taken us a bit longer than we thought. But
Yeah, so now we're just kind of getting back in the groove, and this is the first video since we got married again. And if you can't keep up, yes, this is our third wedding.
yeah. And this is going to be like a wedding sort of debrief, isn't it? Which feels like ages ago now.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you think about the wedding? It was this close to being a disaster.
I don't think so. I just think that it, like, people had warned me beforehand. Like, people at work who I told was going to get married said, try and enjoy it because it'll go very fast.
I didn't take them seriously.
Yeah, I was just like, yeah, but there's so much going on. I'm sure it won't be like that, but it really was. It went by
in the blink
so
of an
fast,
eye.
and I felt like all I did was greet people and say bye to people. That feels like the only thing I felt I really did.
Yeah,
besides the ceremony and everything, it's a lot of. And again, you probably should have expected that. You got a lot of guests come in. But you really do only have limited time with all your guests because you've got so many friends and family there. And, you're only there for a day. So
less than a day. Also it went back by so fast. And I think that's the thing with me is I can barely remember what happened. And like 8 p.m., everyone was gone. And it was like, don't get me wrong, we were very happy for the wedding to end because we're originally slated for it to end at 10 p.m. But 8 p.m. people started leaving, so we're like, you know what? Thank you guys for coming by. We're just so happy to go home now and count our money and relax.
It's just so crazy the length of time you plan for one day that goes by in the blink of an eye. It's so funny.
And this is why my husband knows this. Like, I'm the kind of person that I was never that little girl that was like sitting down having so many books, caring so much about a wedding or what a dream day would look like. I didn't even know what I wanted for a dress. My dress was made in Nigeria. I actually put that dress on for the first time 2 days to my wedding. So if that dress had been bad, that would have been it. So that is how much I didn't really care about those details. What this process just solidified for me is that a lot of the things that gets brides stressed out and that they really feel like they care about, it's just for the aesthetics of the day. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't take away anything from your day. Trust me. I didn't really care about all those things. And those, for me, were not the things that I remember about the day. I forgot to walk down the aisle with my bouquet because the supplier forgot to deliver it and I forgot to remind her. And I just walked down the aisle. So it's like a typical bridezilla would have been like, oh my God, this is a disaster. I can't walk down the aisle with the bouquet. Sweetheart, you absolutely can't walk down the aisle.
It didn't take anything away from the day. It
didn't matter.
No one really knew except for kind of us and my mum who reminded us of it.
Yeah.
But I think with you and I think with both of us, I think the main priority in the end when it all comes down to it is that you just want it to go well and go as smoothly as possible, which I think most of it did. But I think you had a real blow up moment with me.
Yeah, let's get into all of that. First of all, on the morning of my wedding, I started my wedding crying my eyes out because my brother was very sick and in the hospital from like 11 p.m. up until like not 11 p.m. maybe like 12 a.m. because it was early hours of the morning. Up until like 12 p.m. My wedding was supposed to start at 2. So I didn't get any sleep that night. That's why I said my wedding was this close to be a disaster. The amount of stress that I was under that wedding morning is not something that I anticipated I was ever going to be under. And during the planning of this process, I planned this wedding by myself just with the help of a few people, which I would get to in a bit.
I did as well.
Yeah. I mean, you helped me. But I'm saying we didn't have any wedding planner. So we were doing everything ourselves. So that morning when I found out that my brother was in hospital, I kind of just broke down in tears. I didn't sleep all night. But at the end of the day, don't forget we're already married. So that took away all the stress. When I say I didn't know if there was going to be a wedding, it means that I was so incredibly sad. I didn't know that I want to go there and do the vows when my brother wasn't there, because all I wanted for my wedding was to have my whole family together. And then when that was threatened, I just kind of felt defeated and so sad. It took a lot, and my sister had to like pull me together that morning. We did a lot of prayers, and then by the time we started with makeup and everything, we were already like 2 hours back. So that was an issue. That's why if you see that I didn't have any content for my wedding, like zero, is because I barely even got pictures, because so much time was wasted. All of the transition that I had planned in my head, everything just kind of went at that point in time, which is another one of the mistakes that I think I made, was not writing down every single like content that I wanted to create and giving it to the videographer slash photographer beforehand, so that they know what to do, because it was kind of like everyone was waiting on me to tell them what to do. And because of all of the event that happened, I just went blank.
And time disappears really
fast. You have no idea.
Yeah. And then I went to the venue, set some stuff up, because again, that was another issue that we had. The night before, there'd been an event at our venue. So the only time we really had to set up the venue with all our personal stuff was the morning of the wedding. Yeah. So I had to go round with one of the bridesmaids, and we had to put place cards on the tables. We had to make sure everything was arranged. Everything was set out. Mm-hmm. But I think that ended up going fairly smooth. I was back in time. I got changed
a bit smoothly, but that also took away from the time where we should have done the reveal, where we should have done you receiving your gift. Like, I didn't have on video where I gave him the gift. It wasn't caught on camera where he gave me my gift. I ended up being all over the place because I couldn't find his gift, and my earrings that he bought me for the day was in there. Up until now, I do not know where those earrings are because I lost it.
Yeah, because that was...
it was just so disorganized.
I got to where I was getting ready. I put the gift on the bed, and then I went to the venue to set some stuff up. By the time I got back, the photographers were in the room taking pictures of like my shoes and my outfit and stuff. And the gift bag was nowhere to be seen. It got moved as part of the process of moving stuff around for photography stuff. So things like that happened where we were away, we came back, things were missing, which I suppose is normal for a wedding.
Yeah, I guess it's normal, but that I just feel like now in hindsight, I feel like because we had to do everything ourselves, we didn't really put it into consideration on that day when we were going to be occupied doing stuff like makeup and other things, who was going to take charge of the other things, and we didn't have that in place. So if we were to do it again, which we would never do again because weddings are a nightmare, that would be one of the things I would have done, is make sure to prepare all my content beforehand and pass that across, and make sure that everything is organized and clear instructions are given. Because with Richard, I was so upset with Richard on the wedding morning, honestly, because he was nowhere to be found and I couldn't film any content with him. He didn't have any pictures or like videos getting ready or anything because he had gone to the venue, because apparently British people cannot stand being late for anything.
I got to the venue bang on time, and I was there greeting guests coming in, getting stuff ready at the venue, and then Asato rang me, was like, "Where are you?" I was like, "Well, I'm at the venue. I'm here. I'm greeting people. I'm getting ready." Like, "Well, you need to be here for content." I was like, "I can't get back for content now. I'm here." And I hadn't driven, obviously. Someone had dropped me off. And she was like, "I need you for content." It's the only time I think you've screamed at me down the phone. So I was stood there waiting for you to come in thinking, oh my God, she's so angry.
Richard was texting me like all the drive back. Richard was texting me, was like, "I'm so sorry. I love you. Are you upset?" And I just didn't want to speak to him. I was just like, it's so ironic that you're going to get married to this man and you guys have just had like the biggest fight of your relationship.
Yeah.
Literally 2 minutes to when you say I do.
But it's just wedding stress. That's what it comes down to. And so you actually came in and we started saying our vows and we both got really upset. Like, you were bawling, I had tears in my eyes, but I think...
Oh my God, the vows, really. I was never a crier, so I did not in 1,000 years think I was going to cry at my wedding.
No, but
it was like ugly crying.
But I think people thought, and you would think, we were crying because of like the wedding and
well,
how we
that's why
felt.
we were emotional.
We were
That's how
crying
felt.
because we were tired and relieved, and just the weight lifted that it's
Papa, is that why
happening.
you were crying?
Well, I mean, that was part of the reason. It's
That wasn't
just
for me. That
it's-
wasn't. I guess that is why I would say that is why I became extra emotional. But when I was saying those words to you, and I was saying my vows to you,
yeah,
it was you made me cry because it was the words that you were saying.
yeah.
That is what touched me.
But I think
that's why
yeah, and I was the same. But I think there's a lot of emotions mixed into it all. There's so much stuff going on in your head, and again, that it makes you wonder: did we plan it right? Did we not plan
exactly,
it right?
because if you'd asked me, did I plan the wedding right? I would say no. But I don't want to be too hard on myself because, like everyone told me, we were the only ones who thought that there was any issue because we were so heavily involved with the planning. Every single guest that we had was like, "Oh, your wedding was so beautiful."
Yeah.
People had so much fun. People enjoyed themselves, and at the end of the day, whether you say, "Oh, my wedding is for me," I don't really care what other thing. You care what your guest thinks. You want your guests to be happy because the whole ceremony is for them. If it wasn't for them and if you didn't care about your guests, you would have eloped and gotten married to your partner. But you wanted them to be a part of the day. The whole reason why you're spending £20,000 planning a wedding is because you want people to enjoy it.
Yeah.
It's not about you, and that's something that Richard told me that just puts me at peace for the day. It's like I may not have had the best time of my life. I cannot sit there and say that day was the best day of my life because, first of all, I preferred my intimate court wedding.
Yeah, I think we both think that.
We both preferred our intimate court wedding to the white wedding because we're really able to enjoy the process. There was not too many people there. The only thing that was missing from our court wedding was the vows. And I think our whole doing 3 weddings was just perfect because whatever we had missing for the other ones, we were really able to do it at the white wedding. We were able to say our vows to each other, which was so beautiful. And we were able to have all of our family in the same room, which is what we never had for both weddings, and which is why we decided to do the 3rd wedding. But as far as enjoying myself went, I would say the time I really enjoyed myself was the dancing.
Yeah, and I think that
after the whole stress of everything was lifted, the vows were done, and you get to that realization that it's done now. I can't do anything about it, so I might as well enjoy myself. And we did. We had a good time.
And I think one of the other things that we've definitely learned, advice that we can give to other people with weddings, have things for your guests to do. Because we had dancing, obviously, which you have at all weddings, but we had like a photo booth. And we had an ice cream van.
I will tell you now, the ice cream van was a last minute thing, but that is the best thing that we did for a wedding. Like because, everyone loved it.
Because I think you guess what things to do, and I think the end of the wedding flowed really well because it's like we had speeches. Then we had food. Then as food was wrapping up and people were getting a bit antsy,
and ready
the ice cream van came. Then we had the props guy. So people were taking pictures and dancing, and everyone had something to do. Yeah. And I think everyone really liked our wedding for the fact that we had things to do. It wasn't just people sat around talking or dancing.
People still reach out to me today and say, "Oh, your wedding was so beautiful." And even though I didn't think it was, it went a long way to say we planned this thing ourselves. We didn't get a wedding planner, and people still thought it was great. So that is it. Do I have any regrets? Yes. The only regret I have is that even though my photographer was great at making sure that I still got pictures, I didn't even think I had as much pictures as that because I can't remember a time where I stood for pictures. Yeah. So I don't know where those pictures came from. That's how fast the day was, and that's how disorganized I felt and how stressed I felt. So I think the only regret that I have is that I didn't feel very calm the week leading to that wedding. And like I was so calm and everything was going well, but a week to the wedding I just felt like everything was unraveling. Everything went crazy. The weight really started to come down on me and I was extremely stressed, which is one thing that I told myself that I will never be, is a stressed bride, and that is exactly what I was. But I have to give myself a lot of props and the people around me, because I had a major thing happen on the day of my wedding. Like my brother was sick. I was 2 hours behind, and somehow I still got pictures. I still got to enjoy my day. Everyone still got to have fun. The only thing is I wasn't able to create content. But at the end of the day, who am I creating the content for? It's for social media. The moment and the memories that truly mattered, I was able to capture, and those moments will live with me forever because I live those moments and I enjoy those moments, and that's all that matters.
That's what I always say as well. Like when I actually proposed to you, there was no cameras, there was no filming, there was nothing, and
we still remember it.
And everyone, all your family, and like people that we know, criticize me for not organizing filming. But for me, that is a personal moment between the two of us that exists in our memories. And I think memory moments is fine. Memory moments is fine.
That's the thing. Everything doesn't have to be for the internet. You guys saw a few photos. You saw us having fun. And that's what matters. The wedding went great. Our vows were great.
We were very lucky with weather as well. And the wedding would have almost been a disaster if we had heavy rain.
I mean, it did rain a little bit, but it stopped.
We were really lucky for the weather, though, and having nice weather helps, and you never know if you're going to get that in the UK, so it's always a gamble.
Especially the time that we put our wedding. It was going to be a gamble, but overall, Baba, what would you say? Did you have fun? Do you think the wedding was good?
I thought it was great. I think people enjoyed it. I enjoyed it, but I think the biggest thing that both of us felt after it was just a massive wave of relief that all the weddings...
I even thought we went over budget, because I was like, I want £5,000. That was my budget, but that was a bit unrealistic.
And I think financial-wise, we did well.
But financially, I think we did well, because we wanted a balance. We didn't want to spend too much because we can't afford it, and also we have our whole lives ahead of us. We had a big year coming up. We just bought a house. Now we had to plan a wedding. Like, we need to give ourselves props for like how we've handled the last year, because we did so many big things in a year that so many people would not be able to handle. There was an engagement. Engagements, of course, are a big deal, because you have to buy the ring, you have to plan the holiday, you have to do this and that. We had an engagement, we bought a house, and then we had to plan 3 weddings in the space of a year. So we've been going at it all year. We've had no chance for a honeymoon. We're planning our honeymoon now for next year, but like we really had to do everything on a like escalated timeline, which added to the stress. And I think we did well.
Yeah, and I think in the next videos we want to talk about the trip we did after the wedding in Albania. Yeah. And then I think we're going to do a video about what we've learned from 1 year of being married, because our anniversary is technically going to be on December
almost
4th.
A year.
Yeah. So
but as far as the wedding went, it wasn't a total disaster. We enjoyed it. It was fine. Our family enjoyed it. We had the best day, and we have beautiful memories of that day to share with our kids. And I think that's the most important. And the top of the list is just that we were able to have our family present. Like all of our families were there, which is what we always wanted. And we're so grateful that we were able to make that happen. So I think it was a success.
The glamour kind of disappears when you think about the core reason for the wedding, which is us and family and friends.
Exactly.
And they were there, and that's all that matters.
And that's really all that matters. So just to 1 year of being married and not killing each other. And we also have to say, we know that a lot of couple like argue and really get upset during this period, which I think we did really good with, because
we had our moments.
Yeah, but not like deep arguments. No. The only time we ever had an argument was even family related, and we kind of just stood there and laughed at each other. Richard was on top of the stairs and we were down, and Richard was like, one thing we're not going to do is argue over this wedding, because this will not be the reason why we start having arguments in our relationship. And we're on the same page with everything, which I think is great. I think we did well. Wedding planning wise, I'll give us a solid 7.5 over 10.
Yeah, no, I'd say so. Yeah,
I think that's fair.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you guys for watching. We'll see you in our next video. Don't forget to
like, subscribe, ring the notification bell, do all that good YouTube
Mama,
stuff.
don't threaten them. Like and subscribe. Bye.
Bye.